Viva, Italia, a week celebrating the great wines of Italy, culminating in a 2-day auction on Wednesday and Thursday, of course, with one of the greatest selections of Italian wines to ever come to auction. That'll be Thursday night, and we also have 5 consignments direct from some of Italy's greatest domains, highlighting that session. We are thrilled and ecstatic here to have one of the great winemakers in all of Italy from one of the great families, a 3rd-generation family here, and we'd love to welcome Bruno Giacosa. Welcome, Bruna.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good. It is very early for us, but we are thrilled to have it here. I do like to drink wine, but normally I don't drink wine at 8 in the morning. But for Giacosa, I make an exception, and I will.
Listen. When we have to do the tasting, usually we do in the morning early because the palate is more clean. So
okay, you might make a new bad habit for me. I don't know. But thank you so much for making time. It is great to have you here. Your family is one of the most important in the history of Piedmont wine. For over 100 years, your family has been making wine. What was it like growing up, Giacosa?
Com'era crescendo come Giacosa? For me, when I was a little girl, 3, 4, 5 years, usually when when my girlfriends, I play in the cellar, because the cellar for me was something, our cellar is not big, but for me, when I was young, was big. And with my girlfriends, I play every day in the cellar. So I think the cellar for me is my home, because you have to say, when I go home, I say, I go in Alba, because my house is in Alba. When I go in the cellar, I say, I go home, because the cellar is my home. When I was really young, I was in the cellar to play. Then when I was 18, I started to work with my father. And for me, my father was, and has been the most important things in my life. So it's natural for me, the cellar, it's something, it stay home. Right. Cellar and home is the same thing. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So did you always want to go into the wine business? Did you, or were you, when you were a teenager or college, were you thinking?
Now, I want to tell you the truth. I grew up in the cellar. This is the reality. But when I was 18, I spoke with my father and I told him, Papa, I love your job. I love staying with you. But in any case, I would like to do something in the fashion, like stylist, designer. And my father said, okay, Bruna, if you want to, you can do this. But what I like is that you stay with me. So because I was in love with my father, I say, okay, Papa, I stay with you. Now I am so happy. Like I didn't do another job, and I am here in the place that for my father was the life, because if you ask my father, where is the place that you like more? My father said, the cellar. Right. Every time.
And it seems like daughter, like father. So it came full circle from growing up in the cellar, and then you came back around full circle, and now you're in the cellar every day. So initially you were working in marketing with the family and for the winery. And then, of course, your father had a stroke in 2006.
Yes.
What changed after that? Did
It was hard for me when my father had a stroke, because it was terrible to see my father change in 10 minutes, you know. But for me was also because my father was in the cellar every day, and for me I was more in the commercial.
Right.
I hope you can understand, sorry, I apologize. I travel more. In effect, I spoke a better English in the past. When my father had a stroke, I thought, Bruna, now your life will change.
Right.
And my life changed because I spent more time in the cellar, more time in the offices, more time in the storage, more time in the vineyard. And also, I didn't think anymore about my vacation, because when my father was healthy, I thought about my vacation, you know, once a year or two times a year. Now, you don't think anymore about vacation because you don't know. Maybe you think, okay, in 1 month I go in some place, but then something happened in the cellar or you have to cancel, you know, everything is changed. But at the beginning it was a little bit hard because there were something that I was, I couldn't be able to do. But when I asked my father, Papa, you think I can do this? I can do that. And my father, every time, Bruna, do, you are able to do. Don't worry, you can do everything you want. So, also if he was sick, he helped me in this way, you know, in the way that sometimes I was a little bit worried, but always he told me, Bruna, go, do what you think is right. And my father, after the stroke, he continued to stay in the cellar, not to work because he couldn't work. But during the tasting, he tasted the wine with me, with the winemaker. Always he spent his time in the chairs because he couldn't walk in the cellar. And he passed away in 2018.
Well, it sounds like he still continued to help, and he was very supportive. So you had his guidance for a long time after, which is very, very lucky and very nice to hear.
Yes, I am lucky because I had my father with me, you know, till 2018.
Yeah.
But it's the reality. Nobody can survive for too much time. But when you lose a father, I think also if you can do your job without him, you lose a part of yourself, you know.
Right.
I hope you understand what I want to.
Of course. Your English is very good, better than.
No, please. You are too nice. Too nice. No. We have to say. In any case.
So Lily, we have some wines to try now that we have the table set. What are we starting with?
We're going to start with the 2017 Barbaresco Asili.
We have to start with the 17 because it's the youngest vintage. 17 is a vintage that some people don't think is good enough, because 16 was a vintage of everybody. But in effect, 16 was a really, really great vintage. wine are extraordinary. I can compare the 16 with 2001.
That makes
Because
sense.
2001 was another unbelievable vintage, and the wine were very with a lot were structured. And the same is for the 2016. But in any case, now we focus in 2017. Because we had the 2016, so great, 2017 people. But 2017 was a warm vintage. Warm like 2015. 2015 was another very good vintage. But the 17 compared to the 15 has more power, more structure. It's a wine that you drink today, but you can drink in 20, 30 years. So, a fantastic vintage. Believe me, if I can have, of course, we can have every year a 16 vintage. But at this point, I would like to have every year the 17. So, I have the, yes.
Delicious.
I have to taste.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the 8 in the morning thing. My palate is really.
It's clean your palate.
It's fantastic, but I mean, this is a fantastic wine. And I mean, Asili is a very special vineyard in Barbaresco. What makes Asili so special? And what makes Barbaresco?
The soil.
Barolo.
Okay, Barolo, we have two different areas, the area of Barolo and the Barbaresco. The grapes are the same, Nebbiolo grapes, but the area are different. And the difference from Barolo and Barbaresco is the soil. The Barolo more argilloso.
Clay and calcareous.
Clay.
Okay.
Yes. Barbaresco, for example, where we own two different vineyards. One is Rabaya and the second is the Asili. The Asili soil is a little bit sandy.
Mm-hmm.
And this give to the Barbaresco, especially the Asili, a lot of elegance. The elegance is something that we like in the wine. For Giacosa, it's not very important the structure. No, the elegance is the more important things in our wine.
Yeah, this Barbaresco is elegant. I think Barbaresco, because it's funny because, you know, in Piedmont, everybody talks about, oh, Barolo, 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 but the Barbarescos are just as good. And they're just, like you said, a little more of an elegant perfume style, not so heavy. And it's a beautiful expression of the Nebbiolo grape. And of course, Asili is the great vineyard, right? I mean, that's pretty much,
Yes.
Another great vineyard, but Asili is very special, right?
Asili is very special, but also in the past, the people knows more the Barolo, and they are not in. They prefer the Barolo. I don't know why, because, for example, if you talk about two great wine of Italy, Barolo and Brunello, always.
Right.
If you ask somebody, tell me about two wines from Italy, they say Barolo and Brunello. But of course, in all the world, we have a lot of people passionate about wines, and these people knows about the wines, and they enjoy very much also the Barbaresco. The Barbaresco is very elegant wine, the Barbaresco survive like the age for long time like the Barolo. There is no difference. The difference doesn't exist. The same grapes, but the difference between Barolo and Barbaresco for me is the elegance.
Right.
And the finesse of me, I like very much the Barbaresco. Barbaresco is a great wine. But
this is a delicious wine. I mean, I will be enjoying this all throughout the day, I think, here. So, you know, it's like Giacosa is considered, you know, one of the real traditional winemakers in Piedmont. And does that mean something to do traditional, like a respect to the past, or are you making changes at all, or you know, have you always kind of respected the tradition of your father and the winemaking style?
no, we didn't change nothing,
Right.
because it's not necessary.
Right.
We want to continue to do the same that my father did in the past.
Yeah.
No change.
When you're the best, it's not smart to change, right? So when it's
No,
not an expression,
not about it, but it's not necessary to change nothing, you know. We can change the big cask, we change the big cask when the other are old, but why change something that we like, we love?
Yep.
Our wine, the philosophy that we produce the wine. We have a lot of respect for the terroir. When you taste the Barbaresco Barolo, you taste Barbaresco Barolo. You don't taste the wine and you say, oh, this wine is very good, but you don't know which wine is, you know.
Right, right. And what are some of the hallmark traditions of your father? Was it small yields? I know he was one of the first to use French oak, and you know, so he did temperature controlled fermentation and yield. Some of the real innovations in Piedmont. What are some of those things that make the Giacosa style what it is?
Sorry, I couldn't understand very well, and Sophie didn't translate.
I was asking about some of the unique style of Giacosa and some of the things that your father did, like using French oak, the
yes,
fermentation, temperature controlled in stainless steel, small yields. What are some of those things that make Giacosa unique?
Okay, first is the rye production in the vineyards. Because the rye production in the vineyard is very important.
The yields.
The work, the correct and very fine work in vineyards, because the vineyards is number one. And then, of course, temperature control we do from long time. The oak, big oak, because we don't use barrique, we never use the barrique, but only big oak are from 50 hectoliter and 110 hectoliter. The wood is from Allier, French, but we have also wood from Austria, Slovenia,
yeah,
oak, Slovenia oak.
Very nice, very nice. Well, you know, the 2017, it's a white label, and so
yes.
not every year you make the red label. So how do you decide when it's only white? And if you make the red, there's no white, or there's white and red, or how does it work?
No, okay, we do red labels in the best vintages. This is, but sometimes we didn't do, in the past, we didn't do red label for commercial motivi commerciali.
Commercial reasons.
Commercial reason. Because I remember 99 was a very good vintage. If you find some bottles of Barolo 99, you can understand how much was great. We wanted to do the red label, but we couldn't because 98 was a red label. Then 2000 was a red label. And so when you do red label, the wine, the Barolo stay 2 more years before to be in the market.
It was financial, yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
but not financial, not for that. It's
Okay.
because people ask for the Barolo or Barbaresco, and with the red label, the wine spend more time in bottles.
The real estate in the cellar take up too much room.
Yes, sometimes yes, but also because our consumer, our importer, our distributor, the needs Barolo or the needs Barbaresco.
Right.
In any case, yes, we do red label in the best vintages. But
Now, when you make a red label, there's no white label, or there's both in one year?
No. For example, we do red label for the Asili and Falletto Vigna Rocche for the Barolo. And for white label is the Rabaya, is Barolo Falletto. These wine are white label. For red label.
No, I understand, but in one year, will there be both a white and a red label, or only white or only red? Or does it mix?
No, or red or white.
Okay, so it's all one or the other, right? Okay.
Yeah, or red or white. For example, 17 Asili is white. There is nothing red, white. In 2017, we did 3 different Barolo. One classic Barolo from the new the vines in Falletto. Then we did the Barolo 2017 Falletto, but in 2023 in the market there will be the Barolo 2017 Falletto Vigna Rocche, red label.
Oh, okay. So there will be, but it's released much later. Okay.
Yeah, when we do red label, more time in the cellar.
Right.
Next year we will have the Barolo, the 2016 Falletto Vigna Rocche, Riserva, red label.
Well, that will be exciting to taste. I think, what's interesting though, the white label, I've had some great white labels from the 70s, from the 80s. These wines age tremendously. And I think the consumer, for the collector, they're like, oh, I want the red, I have to have the red label, but the white labels are fantastic and they age so well. So it's kind of like the secret Giacosa wines are the white labels. And I keep telling people, you've got to drink more white labels, try the white labels because they're great and they still age so well.
Thank you. I like the white label too.
But it's funny, everybody, thinks, oh, it's the red label, the collectors, they always want, oh,
I know.
The best and this and that, so, but they don't realize everything Giacosa is the best, which I can taste right here with the Asili. And of course, your family used to make many more different wines, but it was a very big decision when you stopped making the Santo Stefano and the Collina Rianda. And so talk to us about that decision and that process.
Okay, the decision about the Santo Stefano, our last Santo Stefano was the 2011. I took the decision with my father because in 2000, Wait. In 2006, my father told me, Bruna, I don't want to buy any more grapes. No, 2006. Time go fast. Maybe 2006. Yes, time go fast. I don't remember when my father called me and he said, Bruna, we stopped to buy grapes from the grower because for Barolo and Barbaresco, I prefer to have the 100 the control in the vineyard, you know. And when you buy grapes, of course, you are happy to buy the grapes and the grower give you a wonderful grapes, but you can have the total control, you know, 100% of the control. And no, this was in 97 when my father told me, Bruno, I don't want to buy any more grapes for Barolo. We use our grapes in Falletto. Falletto is fantastic vineyard, but we don't buy anymore. I remember before, no, we did the Collinarionda, but also Villero from Castiglione Falletto in the past. I think the last Villero maybe was 26. I'm so sorry. I am not sure. In any case, also for the Barbaresco, my father decided in 2011 stop to finish to buy the grapes from Santo Stefano. And he said, Bruno, we do Rabaya, we do Asili, we do what we want in the vineyards, we have our control, and he said, I am more happy. So it's for that that we don't produce anymore Santo Stefano. And 2011 was the last vintage for Santo Stefano. The first vintage for Santo Stefano was 64, and the last was 2011. Collinarionda, my father, I am not sure because I was too young, but I think my father stopped to produce Collinarionda because the grower didn't sell anymore him the grapes. I think for that. You understand what I want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think.
No, that's
And for but I don't remember the last Collinarionda. I think it was 82. Oh, 82, of course. I don't know. Also,
no, there was
if
89
my father,
and 90.
89 and
90.
90, yeah, I think 90.
90.
Yeah, I hope so because I've sold some 89 and 90, so I hope you made them. No, I think 90 is the last one.
In this moment, you know, I am a little bit confused about the different crew, you know.
Okay.
But now we produce only Barolo Barbareschi from our vineyards,
Right.
from our estates.
Would you consider buying a new vineyard if it was a great vineyard and an opportunity came up, or you are happy with what you have and that's enough, and this is the land your family has always made, or if there was a new opportunity, would you consider it?
Okay, I am happy with my vineyards, with the Falletto, because Falletto is, for me, is the best. I am happy with the Asili, I am happy with the Rabaya. Of course, if tomorrow someone tell me, oh, Bruna, there is this vineyard in sale, if the vineyard is great, I would like to buy, but I don't think it's easy now to find something great. You can buy vineyards, not too much, but you can find some vineyards in Barolo or in Barbaresco, but not great. And when you buy something, you have to buy the best, not, you know. And the best is not available now.
Right.
for sale.
Yeah, very hard.
We have a lot of great vineyards in Barolo area, in Barbaresco area, but not for sale. Maybe tomorrow, we never know, but no now. But if something will be, something great will be in sale, why not to think about?
Interesting. So Lily, why don't you take us into the, speaking of Falletto and Barolo in 2017, while I kind of get to know it and keep thinking.
Well,
Yes.
Bruna has been very excited about the Falletto vineyard and talking about how that is, I know she sounds like she loves Barbaresco, but Falletto is very exciting. And Falletto is one of the most dramatic sites in Piedmont, one of the most kind of dramatic vineyards, and you have several wines that you make from there. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what makes Falletto special?
Falletto special, first is Serralunga. Serralunga is one of the best area for Barolo because the Barolo from Serralunga age a lot, age in the time. And then Serralunga is special, for example, for the Barbaresco, which is the Barbaresco three commune, Treso, Barbaresco, and Nebbiolo. But Barbaresco is the best. And for me, Serralunga is the best place for the Barolo. So, for Falletto, Serralunga first. And then the exposition of the Falletto is something, is an amphitheater. And it took the sun from the morning till the evening. The vineyards are special, and I am happy that Falletto is only Giacosa as Falletto, you know. I don't know. I love the Falletto. For me, Falletto is something in my heart. I love Asili, I love Rabayama, Falletto is Falletto. Not because it's better.
No, they are different. I mean, it's very interesting to taste them side by side because, you know, the Barbaresco is so silky and it's so elegant, like you said. And the Barolo has a little more power. There's a little more chocolate. There's a little more of a kind of a sweet chocolatey side, you know, to it that I taste, that I really like. But you see the different, like brother and sister, they're different personalities, but the same family, you know, of quality.
The Falletto is still very young. The 16 Falletto is still very young, but is very expressive. Is a wine very expressive. You can find a lot of fruits inside the cherries, Bruna, plums. Is a wine that I can drink every evening, not in the morning too much because
it's more of a night wine. I was going to say the Barbaresco is more of a morning wine, and the Barolo is more of the evening wine, I think.
No, because I love Barolo. You know, in the evening you have more time. During the day you have to work. You can drink a lot. No, we do the tasting in the morning early because the palate is more clean. But when you want to enjoy in your private life a wine, usually you do in the evening because you finish your work, you are with friends or with family, and so you can enjoy your wine for 1 hour, couple of hours during a nice dinner. And this Barolo is special. 16 is fantastic vintage, and of course, the wine has to be good.
Do you think that Barbaresco in general is a little more approachable in its youth versus Barolo, and in general, Barolo needs a little more time, or not?
No, for me, no. But Berbere? No, for me it's the same. Depends to the vintage. You know, there are some vintage. For example, I remember the 2015. The vintage was very approachable. In the 15, there are vintage like 16, more classic vintage, and the wines need more time. For example, sometimes when I drink the Asili Barbaresco 16, it's a Barbaresco, but I think now is more open the Barolo compared to the Barbaresco. No, this for me is not, depends to the vintage.
Right. It's different for every year. Okay.
Yeah, every year. Every vintage is different, every year is different.
Right. So speaking of different, we also have the Riserva, Vigna Rocche. Now, is this a special vineyard within Falletto? It's a special single vineyard?
Yeah. Is a special vineyards. Is in Falletto. The vines are the oldest vines and are at the top of the hill.
Okay.
The position is south.
Right, because
And
you only
the
started,
vines are very, sorry.
I'm sorry. So you only started labeling it Rocche. What was the first vintage that you labeled it? So before it just went into Falletto Riserva, there was only one wine, and so now is the Riserva only Rocche, or are there two Riservas, or only one?
In the past, we did Riserva for the Falletto,
Right.
and then we start to do Riserva for Falletto, Vigna, and Rocche.
Mm-hmm. And what was the first year for the Rocche?
Falletto, Vigna, and Rocche, if I don't wrong, 97.
Okay. But there's only one Riserva from the Falletto every year. There's not a Falletto Riserva in Riserva Rocche in the same year.
No. Only Falletto, Vigna, and Rocche.
Right.
The rules changed for the labeling, so they changed the labels.
Right. Because sometimes, yeah.
Yes. In the past, we called the Rocche del Falletto. Then everything changed. We have to call Falletto, Vigna, and Rocche. But it's the same.
97 to 2009, Le Rocche del Falletto Riserva, and then La Vigna Le Rocche.
Falletto, Vigna, and Rocche.
That's the
Thank you.
Right. But it's the same wine.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Same wine.
Right.
So what can you tell us about 2014? 2014
was a year very strange vintage. We had, it was very difficult because we had a bad summer, very cold summer. I remember in August was cool, a lot of rain. And in 2014, if you ask me, Bruna, what do you do with this harvest? I think I told you, oh, I don't produce any Barolo, any Barbaresco. But what's happened at the end of August, the weather changed. We had a wonderful September with a lot of, all the days with a lot of sun and windy. And the night were very cold, cooler.
Cool.
This helped a lot the Nebbiolo grapes, because Nebbiolo needs windy, nice day and cool night. And we did, of course, we did a great job in the vineyards. And so when after the harvest, when we tasted the wine, we thought, oh, this wine for the Barolo and Barbaresco is fantastic. In a terrible vintage, we did this kind of wine. And so we tasted for a long time, And we understood that we could do the Riserva. And in effect, this Riserva, this wine is very, has a lot of finesse, is very elegant, is refined. It's
long, you know, the finish is long in a very elegant way, like very stylish. It just keeps
yes,
going really nicely. And you said
the fruit
the
is
Reserva. Sorry, go ahead.
no. La frutta, the fruit is
Mature.
mature, more ripe.
And you said the Reserva, it's a minimum of how long is it minimum in the large barrels?
3, la Riserva, 30 months in the big oak,
30 months.
and then we bottle, and the wine stay 2 years half in the storage before to be.
So 5 years before it's released. That's a long time. Yeah, that's a very long time. Beautiful, beautiful wine. Well, that's
Bruna, can I ask a question about how and when you would open bottles like these that are younger, but maybe the 14 is more ready to drink? What time before drinking them at a dinner, when you would open them? Because people always like to ask how far in advance you open a bottle of Barolo before drinking it.
You think about about this vintage, about the 14, 17, and 16. Depends, 1 hour. 1 hour before is enough. If you don't have time, no, I don't do this. Can be a show, but I don't do this. For me, it's important the glasses are very important because the wine in the glass is open, but I don't decant it I can decant it the old vintages if there is some sediment or for some reason, but decanted, no, it's not necessary. I think the best is open maybe 1 hour before if you have time, or 2 hours before. If you don't have time, you leave the wine in the glass and then you enjoy.
I see. What kind of glass are you using now? It's a very big glass.
Yes, we use, no, not special. We use this from some years. These are Zalto glass. I don't want to do the publicity, but because, you know.
I'm just curious, you know.
No.
Just curious. So Giacosa, 100 years, probably, you know, the most important producer, you know, Bruno, your father, one of the most important producer in Piedmont for the last 100 years. What vision do you have for the next 100 years for Giacosa and
100 anni è stato uno delle cantine più importanti di Piemonte. Cosa vedi per il prossimo 100?
I can, you know, sono mago.
She's not a magician.
So I can, it's difficult, but I hope in 100 years, Giacosa still è ancora come adesso,
like
con altre persone.
Like it is now, but with maybe obviously different people, but
of course,
follow the same philosophy.
I don't want that, I want that Bruno Giacosa stay in the mind of the people for forever, you know. And
continue the path.
Yes, of course, in 100 years, different people, but the name, I hope, always the same. And also the wine's always the same, you know.
Yeah. No,
this is one.
The collectors, you know, I mean, I deal with a lot of the older wines and the rare wines, and the collectors adore the old Giacosas like no other Italian wine achieves the price or the demand that the older Giacosa wines make. So it's very
No,
special.
but listen, I understand that people who has a big cellar and the collectors maybe can drink old vintage, but not everybody can drink old vintage. First, because not everybody has big cellar, and not everybody have the possibility also to have a big cellar. So, but also the young wine are very good. You know, I don't have old vintages in my cellar, few bottles, but when I am home, I enjoy to drink a Barolo 2016 and 15 on 2001, 2011, of course. But also the young vintage are very, very good.
Yes, no, these three were delicious. I mean, all these wines, I would have no problem drinking, you know, any of them any night, and I will be drinking more of them tonight, in fact. But you're right, they are delicious and they are approachable, and they can still age, and it's a magnificent wine. And it is great to see you carrying on the tradition of your father, and the wines are still the same style, the same quality. And, you know, I raise my glass to you. Cheers, Bruna.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time, for spending time with us today and
No,
sharing.
thank you to you. I apologize again for my English. Sorry.
Let me tell you, your English is much better than my Italian. I guarantee you this.
I don't know. In any case, I feel a little bit embarrassed, but for me, it's not important if my English is good or not. The most important, are the wines, not my English.
The wines are great. They're more than good.
And these three wines, in 20 years, they will be better, of course, in 20 years. But we have to wait.
Yes, I will continue to drink them. I won't wait 20 years. I will drink them a few times, you know, try some every year because they're so good.
Or maybe next time when you will be in Italy, you come to see me and we taste something maybe a little bit older together.
That would be great. That's what I do. I do it every day, and would love to share some wines with you and visit you in Piedmont. So again, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time also.
Yes, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you so
See
much.
you soon. Ciao.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.